Hi guys, I think it's time to end the site tracking project. So from time to time you wanna learn or try something new, and then you say, let's try Nixos. That was my site tracking project for the last week or so. So on Discord you'll find some information, and oh yeah, let's start it up. I hope it's this one. Let's see. And in the meantime, Ctrl-Alt-G. Let's go to the GitHub of Eric. So it's not gonna be maintained or whatever, but it's there. Let's just do GitHub and then Eric Dubois. That's probably good. Yeah. It's not in the list yet, but who knows. And it's not in this pinned either. So you go to repositories, there are 165 of them. And the one that I've been working and pushing to the last, I don't know, week or so, you can actually look at the activity of these things, insights. It's not been that long that I've been looking into the code, and you can maybe see in the commits the data. When I started, it's about a week ago, I think. I would just make a guess. Anyway, this Nixos is certainly something to investigate, and I think it's time to make a video and end the story of Nixos and give a user point of view as well as a developer point of view. So it's gonna be mixed for certain, and these are the commits. You can see it's interesting to actually see things like that. And there's also the pulls and so on. Wow, that's a long number, big number, 416,000. Doesn't feel that way anyway. So read, and read. That's the first thing I'll say. So I'm gonna give you some tips. I'm gonna help myself as well with the 7 W's and the one how, and how. So that's not gonna work like that. 7 W's. By that, it's, I always say to my students, if you can do this, the 7 W's, maybe like this, and then who and what and where. Let's see, we'll get there, right? So if you can follow and answer all these things, for who is it, where can you install it, when, why, what, relationships, it says here, time. So different W's for certain stuff in communication, and 7 W's. This is in Dutch, right? Wie, wat, waar, waarmee, welke wijze, wanneer, en waarom. So you've heard little words, a few words in Dutch. So keeping track of what we should talk about. In here, I've put some energy into it. You'll find a nice logo, and if it's maintained or not, I'll check out what these things do in the future. So I'm not gonna maintain it per se, so I wonder if this is gonna change. But in 6 months time, maybe in 12 months time, I'll visit it again. The idea is that you make a configuration, that you declare. Few words are important: declarative builds and deployment. You install via different ways, we get over that as well, but you declare that you have a machine. I've given my machine names: data, Picard. Picard has an old NVIDIA machine card in there. All the rest are Intel based. You might have AMD based. But you need to know a little bit about your hardware for sure. And then you can declare things and say data has a configuration. It's all called Nix. And we're always going to import the hardware configuration, which is dealt by Calamaris. He's going to write it down. And then later we're going to add the core packages, maybe some desktop packages, maybe an NVIDIA choice, right? This one, that one, 10 choices or so. You want to have the awesome desktop and so on. So I've been playing around with a lot of things. There's also one that has a grub, an old laptop, which is called Wharf. And Wharf has was built back in the years, and EFI did not exist. So you need to tell them, hey, this is grub. And I found settings everywhere telling, okay, Linux packages latest. Take the latest. But let's not get too much in detail. So that's every single PC, PC1, 2, 3, 4, and the dot files is for everybody. The bin is here, the cache for the wallpaper, for the pie wall, config is here, local is here, and some stuff that I'd like to use, right? So that's interesting to read and to look at, just for knowledge sake as well, and for general, let's kill all that. General overview, will I take the time to do it? You may see already triggers that you say, oh, it's interesting, I can have hyperlint, but never in VirtualBox, you know that. And I can use this or I can use that, and I've made some nice images for you guys. I tested a little bit Steam, so that's possible as well. And all the desktops that we have on ArcoLinux, so ArcoLinux, can be migrated to anything else, basically, SUSE, Ubuntu, whatever, right? We just happen to be on Nixos, and I said, let's see if that works. And then later on, I've installed the other desktops like Lumina. We've never heard about that. Lumina, this was RetroArch, I think, and some other things that I said, okay, that I even can't recall anymore, right? Things that are available to install. And I've made some images of it, and some of them, well, crash and they can't be installed. And yes, yes, there are still problems. You can't say I'm going to install all the desktops. We have the same issues on Arch. You can't do that because this conflicts with that and that conflicts with this. It's gonna happen on Nixos as well, right? So yes, that's good, and why not, right? Why do we still have conflicts between these packages? So they can't resolve it either, even with this way of working, with this vision that they have to declare the builds and to say, I want to have Plasma and do this and do that. And some people have tried to install my script somewhere else. It's not that reproducible, right? It's not that 100% working, because there's also the hardware factor that's always there. There are already people on our ArcoLinux team that say I can't install it on the laptop. Well, yes, I can, but the wireless is not working, or this is not working. So it is still a matter of drivers as usual. I did find my driver for the printer, for example, so it's in there, and you'll have to figure it out as well. There is the AUR, where we use our packages, where the packages are coming from. Here we have the Nix packages collection, over 80,000, which seems like a bunch of things, but not everything will be there. It's as simple as that. So that will be a deal breaker for you guys if you say that's the application I must have on my system, and if it's not there, right, it's gonna be not okay, and you'll be unhappy, and you'll just go away and find something that has it. You can, by the way, ask for them to develop it, but then, right, how much time is needed to develop it? When will it be available? But you can ask and check back later, months later, okay, and see. So it's a lot of possibilities. Let's not get into too much technical data yet. So for who is this? The thing is, it's not for the beginner in Linux, right? Although, right, if you use the download for Linux like the one I've used, either this one or that one, depending on the hardware here. I've used this one, Plasma Desktop, for Intel AMD. If you use this one and you're just happy with what you get, and you're just an internet user that says, I'm gonna go to the internet, I'm gonna surf a little bit, and so on, right? What knowledge do you need to check your mail and to watch a video on VLC? That's not that difficult to install, but it needs to be declared, right? But if you use my configuration, you've got it. So what we say on ArcoLinux does not apply to Nixos. What is that? Become an expert in Linux. I don't want to be disrespectful before I say anything else, but, right, it's such a different way of working with Linux. You'll become a NixOS expert, but you can't apply the knowledge you've learned in NixOS into SUSE or in CentOS and build your job from it. You are very much bound to the world, the realm of NixOS, of its packages, its community, its blog, its support, because this is the knowledge here is super specific. So who maybe guys who have gone through a lot of Linux already, a lot of Linux commands and concepts, that know that SDDM is something to log in already, and so many other things that are declared in the configurations. So many things that we take for granted, that we know that is there, but in NixOS you need to write it that it's there. You need to say, install me this package, and a certain structure. If you watch the videos, there is a Nix kind of structure in Visual Studio and Sublime Text that I've added to, so it's colored, that's nice, that I see the code where it's wrong. So the who is maybe people who are already ready, so intermediate Linux user for sure, that love the fact that you can have something stable, in the sense that if everything works the way you want it to work, if everything is available, what you want to be available, then you'll be happy, right? And you'll just boot up, and if there's an update coming along that breaks your system, you just go back, you downgrade, in a sense, you go a generation back, and you keep on working. So production wise, maybe, right? People who want to be always working on the same environment, same operating system. I'm thinking then about also developers of Android, Perl, whatever, Go, language-wise programmers, which I have not explored, by the way. Might be interesting for them. But it's a learning curve, and it's quite steep. Even for me, after 6 years developing ArcoLinux and using ArcoLinux, more years than 6, it takes time. Now I had time, right? I had time to read and watch a lot of videos and so on. So it was fun, educational, new, and well, that's the who bit. What is it? Yeah, what is it? It's a declarative operating system. You declare what you want to have, and it's one of the last videos. It's strange that I have to educate, and I understand why I have to educate them, that if you declare something, if you change something in the configuration, that you can switch between Plasma and BSPWM in super easy way, right? It's just a line. I just open up, we can actually edit this thing up here. No, I'm not, because I'm logged in as something else. But you can say, okay, this line, this hashtag is gone, and I'll have awesome. Together with SDM, which is a little bit down here, together with this guy. Plasma is also enabled. So that's all you can do. Say, enable me Plasma. And what do we get? The choices of Nixos. Basically, ArcoLinux, we get groups, XFC4, XFC4 goodies, Mate Extra, and in those groups, a lot of packages, and they have defined what's in here. You can override things, say I don't want that in that particular package, but it is what it is, right? You get Plasma, and it's working, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's there, it's available. But Discover is not there. For example, right? Discover is an application to find software. But there's another way of working. Nixos is not going to install software. It's going to generate a new operating system with a desktop, with a package, and so on. So for that, you better check out the videos. So what is Nixos? Certainly worth a study. It's you can read as well while we're scrolling here, rolling back. Experiment without fear. It's even inside a terminal. You can install inside a terminal an application. Try it, and it's not on your system. It is strange. It when I hear me say it, it's strange, right? So contributing and so on, right? Take a look at all the text that you can have here and learn a lot. There is a wiki. Is it complete? Is it a Gentoo wiki? Is it an Arch wiki? No. It has already a lot of information. And the best thing to do is just Nixos wiki and then SDM, for instance, and off you go and you read. And you get your declarations. This is what you need to have somewhere in your code. You're gonna enable the X server and the display manager and the desktop manager. But if you don't know these concepts, you're lost, right? And here you can exclude things. So, okay, yes, sure, I want that, but I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. So it is explained, but sometimes not far enough, not detailed enough. So you get stuck. And then there is the discourse, there is the forum where you can actually ask questions. So Nixos forum, and then you ask your questions there, or you find your answers there by just looking and searching and so on. But it's limited. The information you need, you'll not find on Ubuntu, you'll not find in Red Hat, not in SUSE, not on Solus, because it's so specific. In other distributions, you just look on the internet, and I've fixed ArcoLinux a lot with Ubuntu websites. A lot of information is there. It's not structured as Arch, which makes it a pain in the but it's there. It's also very well answered. Professionals answer these things. I'm sure of that. They're paid to do that. That's great. And we got solutions, and we apply them to any Linux out there. We just happen to be on Arch. So that's the what. Where should you install it? Sure. Where? Anything is good, right? Anything is good. There is only one problem, and that's laptops, as usual. There is a website. There is a link somewhere, Nixos and then ARM laptops. Let's see if I can find it. Because the thing that I found is there is a lot of info on ARM, but less so on the others. So we see here pages, Nixos on ARM, and I thought one down, hardware. So this is what we find. And then we look at Arch, and then, I don't know, laptop, let's see. We do seem to have more information available for laptops, and I suppose it's still growing, and the list is growing. There is so many things. Here we are. As Acer, look at Acer, right? All documented. Acer, Apple, all the apples, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it feels more inviting, knowing, okay, this is not gonna work, that's not gonna work, untested, but at least you have a link for your exact machine. You need to have this installed, you need to have this, and there is some explanation. So that's growing, I'm sure of it. They will add more and more things to the list, and that's great. Okay, so that's the where. With what, waarmee, with what? Let me answer that by the installation procedure. With what? You can go and install Nixos with lots of things. Let's just go to the website .org, I think. So downloading. What have I done? I've used this one, VirtualBox, install, no problem. All 3 machines, 4 machines, hardware, real metal, no problem. There was one problem, Wharf, an old computer, laptop computer. There are 4 or 5 lines, I think, where you can boot up. I had to go to line 4 to actually have a graphical image, and all was fine. The minimalizer I've tested also, not for the beginner. If you're an ArcoLinux user, if you've already installed with the black screen, the code and all that, great, do that, right? Run the installer from the console. So you go to gparted and all the way to start your, here we are, network stuff, and there we are. So parted. Let's partition our SSD. This way, that way, right? Was fun, okay, works. Download the VirtualBox one, which is also easy, but do this, file, import, appliance, import, and so on, demo, and you also have an experience, okay, what is it all about? What are they talking about, right? So these are all the things I've done. macOS not in the home here, Windows, nah, keep it separate, Docker, not done that either. And there's even more. Okay, so that's how you put your things on your system. My recommendation is use Calamares. You're used to Calamares, you know how it works. Calamares is gonna make this hardware configuration thing that is mentioned but never shown, right? Hardware configuration Nix is not on the list, it's not here. It's not here because it's my personal hardware configuration. Why do you need my configuration? You don't. So only the rest you need. You use Calamares, let it do its work. You'll get inside etc Nixos, we're gonna get technical later. You'll get a file, and that file says that's the hardware, and it knows what to do with it. And all the rest is okay. So now we know what hardware is, and we know that the partitions are created and all that, EFI, grub, and all that. What do you need? SDDM, LightDM, BSPWM, Awesome, Qtile, Hyperlint, Plasma, Cinnamon, Mate, and so on. All the big ones are there, of course, all the desktops. And it's a choice that you have to make. So that's the with what. How is basically the same thing. How to do this, how to install it, and when and why. I found somebody who said, why should you do NixOS? And he said, don't do, and don't do, right? 4 times they said, just don't do it. Don't install it. It's interesting. It's a learning experience, but right? I'm further down the road in my Linux development. If this is the first thing you do, wow, right? I don't think you'll make this in a week's time. You will get it, right? It's gonna take longer to understand what's going on. But like I said, with the Calamares Plasma, you'll have a system that works. It will have Plasma, you have a browser. What was I thinking? Forgot. I was looking at why this guy. I will not find it again. It was funny to read, but basically it says more or less what I've said. It's gonna be difficult. It's really an focused little realm, and you are bound in its boundaries, right? You have this how do you say that in English? This unique environment, and you can't get your knowledge elsewhere. There is the forum, and there is some also a Discord channel, and you're really focused in a small environment where you need to find your answers, and that's sometimes tricky. Like for instance, I have one big issue. Chat WM does not work, right? Chat WM does not work. Dusk doesn't work. So the DWMs who needs imlib 2 can't get it to work. And on Arch, you'd say, I'll just build it, git clone, make clean, and you do your stuff. And here you have to figure it out and say, why is it not working? Some errors help me, and I figured it out. But sometimes you really are stuck if you're really in something nitty gritty, some small little thing like ChatWM, right? Who uses it? I do, right? And I love it, but I can't have it on Nixos. Not yet. Maybe in 6 months' time we'll visit it again. But yeah, that's a little bit my summary about Nixos. So no, it's not gonna become my operating system, and yes, it will be still fun to sometimes pop in the SSD that we have, and that's created for Nixos, and update it and see what's going on. Let's maybe get a little bit more technical. As a summary, let's update again. You know the GitHub, Nixos. You git clone it, you install Calamares, you install Plasma, and this is already my configuration. And you put it, for example, in the documents, Nixos, configurations, git clone, https, github.com, eric.dubois, Nixos configuration, you've got it. And then I'm gonna git pull, because this is maybe not the last code, git pull. And then the new stuff comes in. Whatever I put online, if I see something that I can improve, I'll just push it and you grab it and you compare it with your code. You make something similar and keep track of the changes I've made just by comparing with melt. This one with this one, right mouse click, activities, and compare. Okay, so we've changed a few things, I see. Some dot files, some informations here and there. This machine is called Riker, this virtual box. So I've used the configuration of a real metal machine on a virtual box. Okay, so it thinks it's Riker, whatever. So one of those is using this folder, all the declarations in here. What I've done, and that's the best tip ever, and that is you serve. It's called configuration nix. Okay, so GitHub configuration.nix. Everybody has it, right? Everybody has it. And everybody who makes a backup of their settings, what you best idea, right? Do it. Then you'll have technical information. Now we don't need to know their personal, well, settings and preferences, but you need to learn how everything is created, how everything is, well, configured. And here you see already a full configuration based on hostname activates by replacing, and here is the heart of the system, etc NixOS. So etc NixOS is the place to be. Root etc NixOS. And maybe since we're now looking at the structure, this was the pain in my you know where. Alright. This is not Linux. This is okay, right? This is okay. etc is filled. This is bin. You check your bin folder. There's a link to where? Nix store. That's the other heart. That's where all the packages are. Nix store, then a hash, and then bin. So our files are never actually in the Linux directories that we used to have. They're not there, right? They're not really there. Some of them are, but most of them not. So let's just go over them. So you see what I mean. This is home, that's okay. Media, that's my choice there. And here is Nix. This is the store. All the packages, it's a lot of packages that need to be, look at the number. 2,276 folders. Every folder is a package. This one is called Ruby. 314 Paint. This one is called Kava. We're actually one version up in Arch. So this is root with all the stores, all the packages, and everything is basically pointing to there, right? If you want Plasma, it's gonna say take in the store that and that and that and that. If you want BSPWM, it's gonna say you need this and this and this and that, and all the rest is forgotten. All the Plasma stuff is not linked, hence you don't see it. That's how I understand it anyway. Run is where something interesting is. The current system, SW. That's what you're using now. That's your current system. What do we have here? Ah, we do have bin stuff. Oof, right? etc, more stuff. Lib. All right. Getting filled. And share. But the normal share, user, where's your user share? Not available. User bin, that's what you have. User bin. And any script that you're using is going to be named differently. Any script that you are using, I'm looking somewhere else now. I'm not on my own system. Let's go to, oh yeah, let's do new tab, and let's open Picard, this one for example. I just want to include this tip, otherwise you'll be looking for hours. This is what you need to put in the shebang. That's it. All right, we have other things in our systems in Linux. In NixOS, this is it. That's it. All right, or ZSH probably, or Fish, but this one. Okay, we were here looking at the bin, and that triggered me saying I need to say that tip. User and var, right? Things maybe log That's it. There's a journal here. You can have a look there. Some stuff. Journal CTL. All right, so the structure of the Linux you left behind is different. You need to find your stuff. That was an issue. I've installed a rip grep. A rip grep is written like this. I've installed that, and I have looked for RG. So that's the short for rip grep, RG Apache, right? And it's gonna look, and it's gonna find where is the word Apache coming from. Is there somewhere a configuration? And this is how I found out stuff that I learned about an operating system that a week ago I never seen. Another tip is install the package mlocate. Mlocate helped me in Ubuntu, Linux, Mint, whatever, right? And mlocate is the package. Then you type sudo update database. You tell him, go and have a look, what is this system all about? So it's gonna go for root, go in all the directories, all the files and all the stores there. Every single folder in the store is gonna open it. And then I can ask him questions. So if that's done, then we can type the command locate. So back to maybe Picard. We have a configuration. If everything is set, at some point in time, I said I'm gonna split. So locate, I don't know, Sublime text. Sublime 4, I think it's called here. So here it is. In the Nix store, there is a bin Sublime 4. Then I know, okay, that's where it is. So 2 ways to find my way around the system. So at some point in time, this config was a bit too long. Let's put Picard in here. And I said, look, okay, fine. So grab the configs and the packages and let's import files from here and there. Import hardware configuration, that's Calamars who did the work. Then the core packages were adding up, it was becoming too long. I said, okay, these are all the packages I want on an operating system. Whatever desktop I need, I want them to be there. I want Spotify and so on, right? I want these. So these are the core packages. And I thought maybe I'll put the others a little bit more, less mainstream desktop kind of thing. BTOP, Kava, C-Matrix and stuff. Less mainstream. I'll put them in here. I found some environment variables that you can set. Editor is Nano, browser is Firefox, XCP, I suppose that's for Wayland. And then this is the cache, that's the config and so on. Found stuff online from other people's configuration. So okay, gonna copy paste, and then we test. Home Manager, I stopped using it, but I tried it at some point in time. And that's basically to manage also your home directory. You say, okay, I want to have a Kava setting, just taking one of the many apps. And then you have to say every single thing about that particular application. You have to change or write it into a Nix file. I'm not sure if I'm gonna find it. Nix packages, Kava, let's see, right? Default Nix, let's have a look. So this is how the application is going to be installed. That's the name of the application. That's what it needs. Also lib is going to be needed, libs, pulse audio and so on. It's gonna need some applications, so it's not what I want. Home Manager, let's see if we add that. There's some modules that you can install. I've seen it somewhere that you can change things to Kava, say that's the color for this, that's the color for that. You have to define every single thing rather than copy pasting from ArcoLinux, right? So I've not done that. I've just put everything inside the .config or .local and said, boom, let's try it out. This is NVIDIA. This is saying, okay, I just want the default NVIDIA, what we would call NVIDIA DKMS. And it's working just fine on my, how you're called, Picard. Mode setting enabled true. So if you have no clue what mode setting is, right, what are you going to do? So you need to know a few things for sure. Samba as something specific. We teach this in the 3rd year of applied informatics. And then VirtualBox. You want to have VirtualBox on your Nixos. And all it needs, very strange, right? All it needs is this line. That's it. Plus. No, no plus. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Let me be sure. Control find virtual. Yep, that's it. There's no virtual anymore, but that one. Ah, there is one. There's another setting. So just look for it. Oh yeah, that's my display manager. So I'm telling him, if you are going to launch up Xrender, that's my virtual. So the setting for the VirtualBox, that's my size. So I don't have to manually set it with screen. No, set screen. I've called it set screen, dual screen, set screen, single screen, and set screen VM. And then later on I found this. And so, oh, cool. I'll just put this one there. So there are more things in here, and I'm not going to explain every single thing. But if there are issues, that's important. I had issues. I said, why? Why can't I install this? And there were some packages were considered insecure, hence I could not go on. I was halted by installation. And this one and that one needed to be added. This one for Etcher, I think, so it can burn. Minstick is not available. Yeah, deal breaker. And this this was needed for Etcher. It was insecure, so I had to say, go ahead, you can do it, you can install it. Don't want to have firewall, and so many things that I've discovered them how to do things on Nixos. The workflow might be interesting if you can see it in other videos as well. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go again. That happens if you drag out of the screen there. Then this happens. Control R, no patience. Reboot. Next thing I would like to do is go over the workflow. You can already see videos. Let's get rid of Plasma, get AwesomeIn or Qtile or BSPWM or there are videos about that. Let's just go over what I've done to make my life easy. Put everything on the GitHub per PC, and then I tell him copy.sh. Let's open that. I tell him to copy everything that has the extension of Nix, which is the file, new file that there is now, right, to etc Nixos. Copy paste everything from the desktop folder, also there, otherwise we're missing stuff. And this is the command. Basically, you are rebuilding a new generation, a new operating system. And if you omitted Plasma, you threw Plasma out, it will not be in your system. The next system you will boot into. You always log out or reboot, shut down, reboot, and then you have an extra line in that system deboot system. Take, of course, the last one, and you'll boot into your next generation. Let's call it with what the name is. So this basically is the heart. Put something where you can easily edit it, your own homepage, your own home directory, And then you say, okay, well, let's move it to where it's supposed to be, and then run it. So that's basically my workflow. You choose your workflow. So a copy from A to B, and the command is this one, right? This is the copy. I made it verbose, so you see that everything gets copied. And then it's gonna build. So this line is this line. He's building. He's mentioning the store a bunch of times. We look at the files, ff, mpeg, we recognize this one. Right? A few of them you'll recognize. Network manager here. And then escape or space here at the bottom. He's compiling stuff here. NVIDIA. Why NVIDIA? We're in VirtualBox. Psst, psst, we're in VirtualBox. Probably some other reason. But some of the packages are just installed, and some of them are built, as you can see. So you let it do its business. Don't intervene, don't stop anything. That applies to any Linux system out there. If it's busy, let it do its thing. And then we hear people of power shortage, and then my system is broken. Reinstall or arch root, but that's not for everybody. Then it's gonna be a reinstall. Oh, I know now why I'm working on Picard, not on Riker, right? Picard is NVIDIA. Now the thing is, I can actually stop, right? I can actually stop here. And of course, immediately change to Riker, right? And then it's okay. We're gonna have a working system. But I need to do it immediately. Now there are always lines. You put up with different lines. You can always go a line back and then you're safe again. So that's one of the advantages of NixOS. Since you are generating each time a new operating system, you choose just a line in your systemd or your grub. You say, okay, this isn't working. I'm gonna go back. That's better, right? No NVIDIA building. So that's the big difference between these two guys. They're real metal configurations, right? Which are now applied on VirtualBox. I need to take Riker for it. So there you go. We've got ourselves a new build. Now, in the meantime, you check out my configuration. So this is telling, hey, I'm Riker. It's gonna be installed. I can say immediately, I'd like to test out BSPWM. That's all it takes. Save. BSPWM will be installed, right? Let him do its thing, and then I'll show you the next thing I'd like to point out. So copy. Rather than doing this and again and again and again, repetition is not my thing, because the next thing I'll do is the configuration of Kava. Let's have a look. The configuration of Alacrity, ArcoDWM, does call some B top BSP Kava. You can read, right? All of this and all the plasma settings are all in here, the way I like it, of course, right? So you copy paste over the things that you like from your system. Share all the icons that I like and love are here, right? I don't know what else. Plasma stuff. Look and feel. I want this look. Okay, I just grabbed them from ArcoLinux. You grab them from anywhere else. You have all the Planck themes, 100 Planck themes, right? So it's all about choices. This as well. User places XBEL when I open Dolphin, in this case, file manager. They're all here. I did not have to make them manually each time again and again. It's all a matter of files. Which file do I need to have it in Thunar? Another file. This is the one for Plasma. There's another file for the one in Thunar. And it's that bit of knowledge that, yeah, people should have. And then you have something out of the box the way you like it. So that is one of the advantages, right? If you follow this reasoning, this thinking of me without a home manager, which makes it really complex, but it's interesting and it's there for those who want it. We have now BSPWM, by the way. What I meant to say is you have to do things over and over and over, right? Installing and reinstalling and reinstalling and testing and playing. There's another copy here, and that copy is just saying go copy, right? Copy everything over. And gradually I've built it up. That's why we have so many lines. Gradually use this, use that, test this, test that. But I've made a rebuild, and the rebuild is in here. We have a bin that actually is working. .bin, and there's some fun stuff as well, like alpha. Let's see if that works, right? Alpha and the bonsai tree, is that working? I just did not test all of them. That's the bonsai tree. So we have that all on ArcoLinux. Now we have it here, right? It's just Linux. It's all Linux. What I wanted to have is something that makes my life easy, and the rebuild is that. So the first time, let's go over the workflow. I download the ISO Calamares Plasma. I burn it on a USB. I put it in. I install it. Then I do git clone https github.com Eric Dubois Nixos configurations. I go to the PC I'm on, right? Riker or something. I copy it over, and then I go to I copy and build. Then I go to the dot files. I copy as well. And then after that everything happens, the next time around my life is easier. I do rebuild. A rebuild might give you some ideas. So this is the path. I'm always gonna put it in here, and I'm called Eric. So go change, git pull from host. He knows what host, right? Riker. Echo host. Every single thing has a name, I guess. Yeah, voila, host name, that's it, right? So echo host name, and it will produce Riker. It's there, it says here Riker, so I don't need to show it in the terminal, otherwise I wouldn't have a name there. And then later on it's gonna pull everything, git pull everything from the internet, comes back again, github, git pull, and then cd dot files. Let's copy everything, and then if you're on Riker, you go to Riker, you copy, and if you're on data, then you go to data, you copy. And this makes it super simple. Wherever I am, the system has been installed, the workflow that I just told, rebuild. And it knows, I'm on NixOS Riker here, so I'm gonna use the configuration from Riker. So no NVIDIA, for one thing. And off it goes. So again, it's gonna build again. BSPWM is already there. It's deleting some stuff. Some cleaning up commands that I found online. Then Super X, we reboot. You don't log out. You're gonna restart, right? Always restart, and there will be a new line. Generation 6. I have machine 0 with generation 60, right? Every single time a new test. For the developers maybe who are watching, would be nice if we could change something here. Like this one is Plasma, that's BSPWM, that's i3. Would be an idea, I don't know if that's possible. I know it's not the point, but I do feel the urge to have a reminder. What did I do there? You're always in Plasma, that's my choice. And then we log out. And then we look. Aha. Another tip. For all the configurations that you have, forget about BSPWM. It doesn't exist. So the environment variables that we have are no longer, well, pure, right? The XDG current desktop, it does not exist anymore. BSPWM. i3, it doesn't exist anymore. It's called none plus BSPWM. So every time you have some kind of link or usage of the environments variables in a polybar, in a lemon bar, or waybar, polybar, anything, scripting pointing to a variable, this does not exist BSPWM. It's gonna be called none plus BSPWM. So that's very important. We've adapted everything, and you've seen already it in action. Variety has been changed in order for this to be actually working. Alt N, Alt N, Alt N, Alt N, Alt N, Alt N. Control T, Super Shift Enter, Super D, Escape, Super Shift D, Escape, Super X, Super Shift Q, Super X, log out. Done. So it all works. And now we have a system, a new generated OS that has the combo of Plasma and BSPWM, right? And in a while, Variety will kick in and say, voila, another wallpaper. So that's my ending video, I guess. And in a few months' time, or maybe sooner, I don't know, we'll check it out again. And yeah, if you got time, why not give it a try and install it and see how far you can get. It's always a learning experience, it's always that, and have fun learning. All right, cheers.